Hello, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us today. My name is Kevin Morrison. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the County Commissioner representing the 15th District of the Northwest Suburbs of Cook County. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you who are joining us live today. As a reminder, if you have any questions for our incredible panelists, you could put those in the comments on the live stream, and we'll get to those questions as soon as we get to our discussion section. Today's conversation is on Pride. So first, I want to begin by saying happy Pride, everyone. You know, as a openly LGBTQ, 30-year-old public servant, individual, community member, I really hope everyone is able to enjoy this Pride Month despite the changes that we're seeing. I know, first and foremost, that the rights that I have today were secured through the unwavering determination and grit of activists and leaders who came before me. I also know we still have a lot of work left to do. With this Pride Month coinciding with demonstrations across our country in response to the killing of George Floyd, it is important to remember that it was excessive force and brutal policing that led to Stonewall. Had Marsha P. Johnson, Stormy DeLarverie, and Sylvia Rivera not fought back at Stonewall, would being who I am still be criminal today? When I say our fight is not over, I mean that our rights are not yet fully secured on the federal level, especially for transgender and gender non-binary individuals. Police brutality and crime is often still perpetuated on transgender women of color at an alarming rate. Our work is not done until there is true equity for all communities. I want to wish you all a happy Pride. I hope you celebrate the progress we've made thus far, and let's keep working for that better and more equitable tomorrow. Today, it is my great honor to welcome three incredible leaders in our community and allies as well, who have been leading the fight for that equitable future. Today, we have Jeremy Holston from the LGBT Chamber of Commerce of Illinois. We have Carolyn Pinta from the Pinta Pride Project, or otherwise known for the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade, and Miles Brady Davis of Equality, Illinois. First and foremost, I want to welcome Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy, so very much from the LGBT Chamber of Commerce for joining us today.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Very much appreciate the invitation to be here with you.
And if you would like to take a moment to do a brief introduction.
Sure. Again, thanks so much for having us. Again, everyone, my name is Jeremy Holston. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am the director of the LGBT Chamber of Commerce of Illinois. We are the premier business voice for nearly 50,000 LGBTQ business owners across Illinois, as well as corporate partners and their LGBTQ employee resource groups and their supplier diversity programs. We are excited to be partners to these dynamic businesses by providing them access to networking, professional development, marketing, advocacy, as well as the LGBT Business Enterprise certification. Some of the offerings that we're able to provide to the community include our monthly Mix and Mingle happy hour networking events, our LGBTQ Biz Bootcamp program, which is the only cohort program for LGBTQ entrepreneurs in Chicago, as well as a host of other opportunities as well. Like you, definitely we're recognizing where we are right now in terms of pride and recognizing what is also happening locally in our community and across our nation. So as I and we as an organization and community think about the chamber, some of the things that we are doing are, one, encouraging people to think about having a more inclusive approach in terms of celebrating pride and celebrating other experiences and voices. We are also creating a wonderful Pride guide and a PPE guide as well that features LGBTQ-owned businesses that small and large companies can utilize to celebrate their Pride initiatives. And then we hope that everyone will join us for a campaign that will be debuting in the coming weeks to celebrate LGBTQ strong and the dynamic impact of LGBTQ-owned businesses. So excited to be here and look forward to today's conversation.
Jeremy, thank you so very much for being here with us today. I'm really excited to have you. Next up for intros, we've got the incredible the mother of all mothers, Carolyn Pinta from the Pinta Pride Project. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, I'm honored to be here with y'all today. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Carolyn Pinta. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm the director and one of the founders of the Pinta Pride Project from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Just to give you a very brief synopsis of how we came to be, when my daughter was 11 years old, she came out first as lesbian and then has settled in that she's bisexual. But when she came out, we went to Aurora's first Pride Parade, where I'm willing to bet all the guests that are here today went to that incredible, incredible parade. We really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into when we went to that parade because we've never been so filled with love and joy. I remember wandering the streets after the parade trying to find somebody to thank. It was that life-changing for us. And at this point, my daughter was out, but not out publicly. She was 11. And she said, "Mom, why can't we do this in Buffalo Grove?" And I said, being a woman with a very big mouth, we can absolutely do this in Buffalo Grove, but if we're going to, then I want you to come out to the world and I want you to ask them to celebrate with us by helping us to raise the money to throw this parade. So she created a video in our upstairs hallway of our home, talking about how she was 11, out, gay and proud, and asking people to support her. And insanely, within a week and a half, we had raised $10,000. And the story just goes from there. We formed a Facebook group and a website where others could connect. We are a very family-friendly organization, and we ended up creating a nonprofit. The nonprofit is called the Pinta Pride Project, as I've told you before. And really, one of our biggest missions is just to connect other people who maybe have children that have just come out and are part of the LGBTQ community. But our mission statement is to highlight, normalize, and celebrate the LGBTQ community in Buffalo Grove and the Northwest suburbs. So we don't just want to know that there are gay people in our everyday life. We want to see them out and about. And we throw at least one event every month. Obviously, it's been different with the COVID situation. But probably what we are most known for is Buffalo Grove's Pride Parade, which did happen. The commissioner was there marching with us and also was a sponsor of last year and this year's parade. So we're so grateful for that. The parade last year, we had about 1,800 participants in the actual parade and a crowd of about 5,000 people. So we were just thrilled with the success and the way that enabled us to grow and to gain new membership over the year. So we were all set, of course, to throw the parade again this year. We had secured the fabulous, wonderful drag queen Nina West to come and be our grand marshal, and then COVID hit. We knew that our family would still decorate our home on June 7th and be out on our lawn giving away as much rainbow as we possibly could. But we decided, why not invite other people to be involved? And as of now, we have 94 homes that this Sunday between 12 and 3 p.m. will be decorated all around Buffalo Grove. If you go to pintaprideproject.com, you'll find a map and also a PDF list of different routes that are labeled by rainbow color for you to drive by to see everything from DJs to drag queens to giveaways. Of course, because of what is currently happening in our country, the Black Lives Matter movement, we feel this is so closely connected to Pride. Of course it is, for what the commissioner said in the opening and in so many other ways. We stand proudly with our Black siblings, and we have found ways to incorporate that into our weekend. For instance, any monetary donations that we receive along the route will be donated to Brave Space Alliance this weekend. Also, every home will be displaying their colorful rainbow Black Lives Matter signs. We are very cognizant that we are spreading joy and happiness at a time that is very painful for others. And we want them to know that we support them and are there for them, and that however they choose to engage in our Pride this year, even if they're just unable to do it all, we understand, but that above all, we stand for love and acceptance. So we would love to see anybody come out and visit any of those homes on Sunday. In fact, the commissioner and his team will be with us at one of the homes on Gale Drive, and we're very excited to have him. Thanks so much, everybody.
Carolyn, that is such an incredible message. I thank you for your leadership and activism, and we're very lucky to have a mom like you here in the north suburbs of Cook County. I'm very excited to bring our census message to this year's Buffalo Grove Pride drive-by parade, but it's going to be very exciting. I just want to give a reminder for all of those who are tuning in live right now. If you have any questions for me or any of our incredible panelists, please put those in the comments of the live stream. We will see those questions come through, and we'll be happy to address them as soon as we get to the discussion section. Without further ado, I am so thankful that Miles Brady Davis from Equality Illinois is joining us today. Thank you so very much for being here with us today, Miles.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I am honored to be a part of this panel today. For those who don't know me, I'm Miles Brady Davis, and I am the Director of Communications and Press Secretary at Equality Illinois, the state's civil rights organization for LGBTQ plus Illinoisans. At Equality Illinois, we envision a fair and unified Illinois where everyone is treated with dignity and respect regardless of identity. We work hard to fight for policies that advance full equality. We build LGBT power within communities across the state, and we lift up the LGBT leadership in public spheres. You can find out more about us by visiting our website. Just Google equalityillinois.com. During this Pride season, it's a very special Pride season in light of everything that's going on, including COVID. So this Pride season, we have really dedicated it to making sure that we are amplifying LGBT community color voices in everything that we do. We are speaking out against injustice. Also on our webpage, you will find we have a COVID-19 resource page. It's important for people to realize that COVID is still out there and it's impacting our community as well. We also have been encouraging people to, if they have the capacity, to donate to queer, Black, and people of color-led organizations. In this time, I know that we know that a lot of people are hurting, but anything that we have to share in this moment. We just recently donated to the Chicago Community Bond Fund to help out some of the protesters that are fighting on the front line right now. And also, I would like to announce that on June 20th, we're going to be hosting, for the first ever Illinois statewide Pride event. The theme will be Can't Stop Our Pride, One Day, One Illinois. And during that broadcast, we are going to have a plethora of events, but we're going to have a lot of very important community conversations where we're talking about what's going on in this time and what we could all do to help. We're also going to have a family story hour. I'm a recent father, so I'm really looking forward to that part of it. We're also going to have like other fun things like cooking and mixology classes. And one thing that I really want to make sure we had was an interfaith session with everything that's going on in our society now. I'm really looking forward to coming together and fellowshipping with other LGBTQ people. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and please look forward to our event that's coming up on June 20th.
Amazing. No, thank you so very much, Miles, for being with us today. Really happy to have you. Awesome. I just want to give a reminder to everyone as we go into our discussion section. If you have any questions, comments, anything you would like to ask of any of our panelists today, please put those in the live comments. We'll see those come through, and we'll be happy to address them. But first, I just want to go around the horn and see, right now it's a difficult time that we're not able to all come together as usual and celebrate in our beautiful large gatherings that we're so accustomed to during Pride Month. But I'm just curious, what are some ways we can celebrate Pride Month and also stand in solidarity with our BIPOC siblings? Jeremy, if you would like to go first.
Sure. So obviously, as a chamber, one of the easiest and most important things that we suggest is for people to consider spending with Black LGBTQ-owned businesses during this time. It is definitely our belief that economic power, economic relief is really the way that people are able to be independent and to create more opportunities in their community. And so the more you're able to invest in Black LGBTQ-owned businesses, the more they're able to grow, the more they're able to hire other people that look like them and come from similar experiences, and able to connect those people to other, again, opportunities. We're very fortunate to have a number of members who we'd encourage all of you to consider supporting. I'll just throw out some of those businesses. One is 360 HR Solutions. And so if you have a team that is looking for some leadership development or some training or some coaching during this season, they would be a great company to look out to. One is A-List Limousine Services. And so while you might not be able to get together, you can at least travel to that one place in style. So do think about utilizing them. Another one is Taylor's Tacos, a Black LGBTQ-owned business as well. Phenomenal tacos, great salsa, so incredible catering opportunities. And so we'd be happy to share any other recommendations for people. And so, but really that's what we believe is really thinking about how you can support Black LGBTQ-owned businesses as you're celebrating at home or virtually with your friends or family.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's a great suggestion. And Miles, I know Equality Illinois has some exciting activities going on this month. Would you like to elaborate and share how people could partake?
Yes. So once again, if you visit our website and click on our event page, you'll find our event, Can't Stop Our Pride, One Day, One Illinois, our virtual Pride event. First time it's ever going to be a statewide Pride, which is very important. And also what we really need people to realize too is that we have, in the LGBT community, we're able to benefit from a lot of laws that have been passed because trans and queer people of color fought for our rights. So as we go into this Pride season, we have to recommit ourselves to racial justice and making sure that we're centering and uplifting communities of color. They have always been on the front line like they are today. As soon as COVID hit, first thing you heard, Brave Space Alliance was organizing and getting food together to some of our most marginalized communities. It's like Black trans women led us then, and Black trans women and communities of color are leading us now. So it's important to lift up their voices, and also, as Jeremy was saying, making sure that we're giving and supporting those businesses during this time. And also register to vote. Elections have matter both on the federal and the local level. So make sure that we're registered to vote, and everybody within our sphere of influence is also registered to vote. It's very important.
That's incredible, Miles. I really appreciate it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say another great way to help the LGBTQ community and all communities is by partaking and completing your 2020 census. You need to complete your census. We all need to be counted. We need those resources coming directly to our communities. So don't forget to do that as well. And Carolyn, I know how you already mentioned that we will be proudly saying Black Lives Matter at this year's Buffalo Grove Pride Parade. If you would like to elaborate and show how what hours that will be going on and how people could join us.
Definitely. Well, first, I want to say both Jeremy and Miles, I'm so excited I was here today to hear about both of the things that you talked about, because I have access to a lot of people that I can share these things with. And Jeremy, especially what you just said, we were starting to compile a list yesterday of businesses that we can support that are Black-owned businesses. So I'm assuming I can go to your website to find a list that you're building too, and we'll share that, and we'll be sharing about your event too, Miles. That sounds wonderful. I would say the biggest thing that we're encouraging people to do in BG Pride is just to be loud, just to speak out, and to really make people understand that silence is complacency and they have to get involved. I have to say, yesterday, Buffalo Grove teenagers from Stevenson High School threw a rally of support for the Black Lives Matter movement. And I know there were 5 or 6 right in the area yesterday, but that's the one that I happened to attend. There were over 500 people and 500 hearts beating together, all understanding that we need great change and we need to speak up for each other. And the one thing that is positive at this terrible time with everything going on is that you are visibly able to see how many people truly do care and truly do want to see change for the community. Again, this Sunday, it's between 12 and 3. If you go to our website, pintaprideproject.com, you can download a PDF of all of the different homes that you can visit. I know for sure we have 2 homes that will have voter registration. The commissioner is doing the census. There will definitely be plenty of positive politics involved to help everybody out. And we have connected with, I'm really excited about this, a 14-year-old who has started her own Black Lives Matter chapter in Mundelein, which is about 8 minutes from us. She has 20 to 30 teen volunteers that are going to be on a couple of our lawns, sharing their signage, but telling people how to get involved in their specific movement locally. So we're trying to bring it in as much as we can because it's, again, completely connected.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. No, that is incredible. I really look forward to this weekend. We have a great question that just came in from David. I know Carolyn is from the north suburbs, but if you have suggestions as well, you could jump in. But for Jeremy and Miles, David is wondering if you have any connections with folks down here in the far south suburbs, Homewood, Flossmoor, any suggestions you might want to throw their way?
I'm sure we potentially have some members located out in those areas. Not quite sure, but definitely by visiting our directory, people are able to find businesses that might be located near you. We are a statewide chamber, but we have been, we're headquartered here in Chicago, born here. And so we've been very local for about 23 years of our existence. And so just this year, we're starting to get more active in other communities. And so if you know any LGBTQ owned businesses in the Homewood, Flossmoor area that should be connected to us, definitely please encourage them to reach out to us directly on our website. They can reach out to us on our Facebook. We're definitely wanting to make sure that no one is left out of the resources that are made available. But in terms of celebrating Pride, I'm sure Miles can again talk about the statewide virtual initiative that they'll be having going on. But I think, at this point, there's a lot of good just virtual experiences, I think, to be able to tap into. So I would encourage folks to look and see what might be available that's of your interest.
Awesome. And how about you, Miles? Do you have any suggestions for David?
Yeah, so if you visit our website and go to our COVID resource page, we have a tab on there that's called Around the State. We have a community advisory board as well as board members that are throughout the state. And when we started gathering resources for our COVID page, we put out a call for people that are outside of Cook County to suggest resources for us. So if you click on that tab, you'll be able to find some resources that are around the state.
Oh, that's fantastic. And another great LGBTQ organization that is centered on the South Side is the Brave Space Alliance. So I'll give them a shout out as well. There are many organizations and groups that are active all throughout the county. We are not just the LGBTQ community is everywhere in Cook County. The village, all across the city of Chicago, we're everywhere. So there is always ways to find community right in your neighborhood. No, that is fantastic. I appreciate it. Now, let's see. I have a question. How do I celebrate Pride if I am self-quarantined? I know we've talked about a lot of the events going on, but do you have any other suggestions, Miles or Carolyn, that you would like to throw in?
Sure. I just want to remind people that even though we're physically distancing ourselves, we're not socially distancing ourselves. And if you just go on any social media platform, you'll see that there's a lot of groups that are organizing events so we can still connect virtually with each other. And also a different way that we could also do it is, we can check on people within our own sphere of influence, and just connecting on that level, is celebrating Pride too.
Very good. Very good.
Terrific. I would just add to that more of the teen focus because that's what I tend to work with. Remember that we have all these wonderful resources such as Youth Outlook, Glenview, Northbrook Youth Services, and the Kenneth Young Center, all which have changed from doing their live groups to doing social groups through Zoom every week for the teens. I bet you could find one every day of the week. And the beautiful part is, for example, Youth Outlook that's all over Illinois. You don't now have to go to the Palatine Center. You could go to one that's an hour away because it's all a virtual Zoom. So there are so many ways for our teams to connect right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I just want to give another reminder for those who may have just joined us, anyone joining our live stream, if you have any questions for our incredible panelists, we're talking about Pride and how to stay active during the month of June. If you have any questions, put them through the live stream comments and we'll be able to see them and address them as they come through. Again, thank you to my panelists for joining us today. This is an incredibly important conversation. Not only are we entering our Pride Month during a time where we're in an epidemic and where there is people rightfully so standing up for social justice reform. One of my questions I would have is, a lot of our organizations have struggled at this time. I know, Jeremy, you might be able to share some insight of some of the struggles you're hearing from businesses within your organization. What are those struggles? How are you navigating this new reality? And what kind of assistance is needed right now?
Sure. So first, I'll sort of add a little bit to the last question that you asked about how people could sort of just celebrate Pride if they were self-quarantining. So obviously, there's always an extensive list of books that people can tap into. Definitely taking this time to reflect and really learn about our LGBTQ history is definitely a way that people can celebrate Pride. We've talked throughout this conversation about how we really got here with the Stonewall riot. And so really taking some time to really read and study what happened and learning about the history of those people who had an impact in that movement. Of course, you can always put on some good music at home and dance to your favorite icons. And so actually on June 11th, we've been doing, so in terms of impact, of course, we've not been able to do in-person gatherings. And so we adjusted to doing everything online. And so an event that we'll be hosting on June 11th is talking about what it is that businesses should be doing as they navigate the journey back into the workplace, as well as things that people should be taking into consideration as you're putting events back on. And so what that should look like in both regards. And so we tend to do a Zoom background challenge for some of our online events. And so the challenge for the one on June 11th is your favorite LGBTQ icon. And so everyone is encouraged to have a background with their favorite icon. And so everyone will have the chance to talk about who those icons are and who those folks mean to them. I'll tell you mine it's going to be a split screen between James Baldwin and Sylvester. So it'll be a good time. Plan to join us there. But in terms of just, impact of COVID, our business members, of course, it's been, 8 weeks about where businesses have been closed down. People haven't been able to let customers in their door. For those retail businesses, even if you can do curbside pickup or delivery, it's never the same amount of business as being able to have people in your stores, sitting down, coming in and utilizing your products. And so a lot of the things that we've been doing have been really, of course, making sure that people knew about the PPP funding and the disaster loan fund that was made available through the SBA, of course, as well as the grants that were made available through the city of Chicago and Cook County. And really just trying to make sure that people are aware of any really financial resources. And obviously at this point, we are gradually opening back up. And so we've been trying to make sure that everyone's aware of the specific industry guidelines that are appropriate to them, just to make sure people are keeping their customers and their employees safe as we begin to navigate back to what this somewhat like normal looks like. And so, it's been really interesting. And I know we still have quite a journey to go ahead of us too.
Of course. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jeremy. Now I'm going to go to Miles. I know that during the time of COVID, a lot of our nonprofits and organizations have seen some struggles and challenges navigating this new reality that we are in. Miles, how is Equality Illinois navigating this situation, and what are some of the ways that people could be helpful?
Well, one of the ways that we've been navigating and had to change courses, we've moved everything virtual. Like it's just been a lot of virtual organizing. It's been a beautiful thing to actually watch all the nonprofits kind of come together and help each other through this time. A lot of us were, learning how to even advocate within the virtual sphere, so we've all come together and do that. But I think the one thing that people need to remember is, in spite of us living within a pandemic right now, this isn't our first pandemic as a community that we faced. And also it's important that we don't lose sight of what's going on in the world. During this pandemic, there's still been a lot of anti-LGBTQ laws that have been passed. So we have to make sure that we're knowing what issues are out there. And like you mentioned earlier, we have to make sure that we're counted within the census. As I stated earlier, we have to make sure that we're registered to vote. Just making sure that we're staying in the fight. And also an important thing is we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves as well. Self-care is really important during this time. In order for us to go out and advocate for the community, we have to first make sure that we're doing okay. There's a lot that's going on. So just making sure that we're checking in with ourselves so we're ready for the fight.
That's fantastic. And Carolyn, any struggles that your organization has faced during this time? Anything you would like to share with the group?
I think for sure, above all, our struggle has been not necessarily COVID, but what's going on with George Floyd and how people really want to help and really want to be involved, and how to bring that into what we're already doing in a very meaningful way. People are so aware and care so much, and it's been our biggest struggle to decide how to incorporate that into everything we're doing this Pride Month.
I like that. No, I just want to throw in there, I know we were talking about things to do during quarantine to celebrate Pride. I've talked on almost every one of my town halls that, every day I try to do a little bit of cooking or cleaning. It's a way for me to decompress and kind of cut myself out from all the outside noise for just a few minutes to really reflect on myself. But another thing I've been doing is reading lots of books. And for Pride Month, I got a new book. It's called The Great Believers. And I wanted to share it with you because it's on the HIV/AIDS epidemic right here in Chicago. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this book during the month of June. And I think one of my good friends for the recommendation. And so finding ways to decompress, read, learn our history. I'm learning new things every single day. And so no matter how many books I've read, there's always more knowledge out there, and I'm always trying to grab at it. But no, that's fantastic. Now, I just want to put out for those who are watching live right now, if you have any questions for the panelists, please put them through the comments. We'll be able to see them and address them as they come through. I thought maybe we'd have a fun question to go around the horn. Jeremy, what's your first memory of Pride?
So interestingly, so I'm originally from Alabama. So I don't recall there obviously being a way to celebrate Pride there. So I didn't have the opportunity to ever attend a Pride parade until I moved to Springfield. And so you could still imagine what a Springfield Pride parade was like in comparison to moving to Chicago and going to a Pride parade. But still, both were very incredible experiences. I remember living in Springfield and going to the parade, and it was amazing to see how it grew over time. And so like even from the first year to the second year, they just had really great success, really great participation, great entertainment. It was really just an incredible experience. And just seeing how the community supported it, and how people were just there to really have a good time. And then, of course, now being at the chamber, we do participate in the Pride Parade. And so it's a much different experience also watching a Pride Parade versus being in a Pride Parade. So I know, from going through two parades and pride parades in general, I know that I'm more of a fan of being in them. That way it goes by a lot more quicker. I will continue to go to them as long as I can have that experience. But I've greatly enjoyed it and look forward to hopefully getting back out there next year.
I love that. Miles, do you remember your first great memory of Pride?
Well, yes, I do have a great memory of Pride. At first, I just want to say I identify as a transmasculine individual. And a heterosexual masculine individual at that. So me and the LGBTQ world, before I came out as trans, I really didn't have a lot of interaction with. But I remember, I forget how old I was. Every year, my family goes to the Bud Billiken Parade, and my cousin has a house right on King Drive, so we all meet up at their house and enjoy the parade. And I'll never forget, I can't remember how old I was, but I'll never forget, my dad taps me during the parade and he says, "Look." And I look out, and here comes Affinity Community Service marching in the Bud Billiken Parade, which in the Bud Billiken Parade is one of the largest, oldest African-American parades in the country. And he taps me, and I see, all of these beautiful Black queer people, marching proud in this parade. And I didn't meet my first Black trans man until I was well into my 20s. So I kind of grew up not ever seeing myself. But when I was young and I saw Affinity marching down in the Pride Parade, it gave me so much hope because I felt so alienated at that time. And seeing someone that, masculine people that were born assigned female at birth, like seeing them march in that parade, I felt that one day I would find my community, and it gave me so much hope and so much joy. So that's my first Pride moment that I cherish.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that, and we're so lucky to have you. Carolyn, what is your first great memory of Pride?
I have always had gay people in my life. It's been a big part of my life. My best friend in college came out when she was a senior. My brother-in-law. Actually, it's interesting. My first probably very prideful Pride wasn't even a Pride event or parade. It was my brother-in-law married his 10-year boyfriend, and they wanted to wait until it was legal everywhere to do it. So even though they've been together forever. So that was a very prideful moment. The first actual Pride parade I went to was Aurora's. Yeah. So that was 2 years ago. That was the first actual parade at the ripe old age of 40. Yeah. But, once you've seen it, you can't get enough of it. Just the pure joy of other humans that love each other no matter what. It's amazing. So definitely we'll miss that live, wild fun this year.
Well, I would like to share one of my experiences too. Thank you for sharing that, Carolyn. For a lot of people who know my story, they know, I experienced a lot of bullying from 4th grade through high school. In high school, I had a lot of homophobia directed at me, though I was in the closet. I was only out to really, really close friends throughout my high school education. And I was very fortunate to have a close childhood friend who really pushed me to look at DePaul University and consider going there after high school. And, I remember going on campus and seeing at a Catholic university Pride flags up in almost all their buildings, and that they had a office dedicated to the LGBTQ community right there where all students would go for lunch. And so I'm really thankful I decided to go to DePaul. My first quarter at university is actually when I finally had the confidence to come out to my family. And I don't know if I would have been able to do so had I chosen a different school. But I remember my first great memory of Pride, and one that actually brought tears of joy to me. My sophomore year of college, me and a couple of fellow students, we moved to Lakeview and found an apartment. It was kind of a beater, but it was right on Halsted. And the week we moved in, the first weekend living in this new space was Market Days. And I remember that the first day of market days, I went down to the street and I saw Halstead packed with booths, with food, but more importantly, with people showing their pride all around. And I that was the first time I had an experience surrounded by people who were proud and open and, just celebrating who they are. And that really had a powerful impact on me. And so I thought I wanted to share that. I want to thank you all again for joining us on this conversation today. I thank all of your organizations for the impact you're making. I know when Carolyn came up with the idea for the Buffalo Pride Parade, I had heard early on about her activities and was excited to be able to take part in the first parade. And we're thankful to see new Pride events coming up all throughout the area, because remember, it's not just in a certain neighborhood in Chicago where the LGBTQ community is present. We're everywhere. We're in every community. And it's really great to see these shifts in the right direction. I thank you all for joining us. I'm going to go around the horn one more time if you want to shout out your organization, any last thoughts. But thank you so very much for being with us. Jeremy, what's on your mind?
Sure. So definitely thank you so much for having this conversation today. I hope that everyone finds an opportunity to have a really eventful and awesome Pride despite being distant and just in light of everything happening. My last thought I would just encourage folks to check us out on our website to learn more about us in terms of membership and upcoming events. Two of those events include the one on June 11th, which is Something Like Normal. Again, talking about how to navigate the journey back into the workplace, or to navigating hosting your own events again. And then on June 23rd, we'll be highlighting 3 LGBTQ-owned businesses that survived COVID, and they've pivoted, and they are looking forward to a continued dynamic business. And so we hope that you will join us as we honor and highlight those businesses, and also be on the lookout for our LGBTQ Strong campaign in helping us highlight the impact of LGBTQ businesses. And so thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to seeing everyone throughout this month.
Thank you so much. We're so happy that you were here today, and thank you for your activism fighting for our LGBTQ-owned businesses. Miles, we're so grateful to have you here as well. Any last thoughts, suggestions?
Yes, just to please visit Equality Illinois on our webpage. If you need COVID-19 resources, we have a hub for you there. Also, check out our event page to find out about the first statewide virtual Pride event we're hosting, Can't Stop Our Pride, One Day, One Illinois. That's going to be June 20th. And also, now is not the time for us as a community to be silent. We need to, always make sure that we're standing on the right side of history and speaking up against injustice against any community, particular communities of color. Let's make sure that we're taking the census. Let's make sure that we're registering to vote, and let's keep pushing equality forward.
I think he's got frozen a little bit. Awesome. No, thank you so much, Miles. We're so happy to have you here today. And Carolyn, what are you thinking?
Thank you so much. I'm honored for our nonprofit to be included in this conversation with 2 amazing organizations. And I'm so excited now to both go check them out more. I'm very familiar with Equality Illinois, but not with the Chamber yet. So thank you. I'm so excited about that. The 2 of you have said it all. You must be counted in the census. You must vote, even if that means you must crawl across broken glass with no mask in a room full of COVID. You must vote, and everybody you know must vote, and you must say it again and again and again, and be loud and be proud. Cannot say it enough times. Love everybody.
No, thank you so very much. I'm so excited to be joining events with these 3 incredible organizations over this month. There's so many great ways to celebrate Pride this June. I just want to share one last message before we leave off. Again, thank you everyone who watched this live. Thank you to everyone who's going to be watching our recorded video. But I just want to once again push. It is so incredibly important that we have a complete count in the 2020 census. The LGBTQ community historically has been undercounted in every single census. And we can't let that happen this time, because every individual who does not complete the census represents a $14,000 to $18,000 loss that goes directly to their communities. It's so incredibly important. It's important to know that the U.S. Census Bureau is the only one who could access your information when you complete the census. They cannot share it with anyone else, with any other level of federal government, with any local government, with any police department. It is private. It stays with the U.S. Census Bureau. If you have not, as of yet, made a single post on all of your social media or told at least 5 to 10 friends about completing the census, I implore you to do so now, because that is one of the best ways you could celebrate Pride here in June of 2020. Thank you all for taking part in joining us today. You all three rock. I thank you for your activism and leadership, and let's continue working for that better tomorrow. Let's remember Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ lives matter, trans lives matter. We all matter, and we got to continue fighting for that greater equity that is within reach if we continue moving in the right direction. Thank you all for being part of this today. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Thank you.
Pride.